Right, time for a quick allotment update. We are 2/3 of the way through August now, and first of all, apologies for the wind. There is a bit of wind. This area, you can see, has now been cleared totally. This area is for our patio. Now, we've got the slabs, and we've cleared the area, which is actually, you may think, not a huge improvement from the last update, but bear in mind that we are in the middle of the harvest season, and so doing anything on this is difficult. Now, this is going to be the main centre for my nan, who will sit here and hopefully pot up plants or whatever. There will be plants on either flowers on either side of her, because we've got our lavender bay here, which is a border, and you can see it's almost at an end now. Is this lavender? It's beginning to go to seed, and of course beyond that we have our dahlias. We also have down here some saxifrage. Often we grow chilies and peppers here, but they died this year for ornamental purposes, really. And we also have alstroemeria around here as well, and that is because those are her favourite flowers, favourite plants, so she's surrounded by some flowers. This area here is supposed to be the meadow garden, which we never got round to this year. That's as far as we got. But the point is that she should be encased by flowers here, which will be nice for her. This is one of the last nursery bays that we're going to keep as a flower bed. So there'll be plenty of flowers for her, plenty of things to pot up, etc. However, I'm standing on the south side, so in the afternoon the sun will be in this direction, which means it will be beating directly down on top of her, and you can see that there is very little in the way of shade. So our plan is to put a trellis in here, down this side here, and to put in some clematis in buckets so that we can control them, have them grow up, and within a season they'll be up here, and this will provide shade, you see, for that bit down there. This also will give us this area here, which will be a legume bed next year for growing beans. The added fact that it is against a shed wall, which is south facing, when there is a sun in the afternoon, should help with that. Let's have a look then at the spring bank. The spring bank, all the spring flowers are gone now, but we need to get some daffodils. We need to get some daffodil bulbs this year, in the next sort of 2 months, and plant them in, because we've lost a lot of gladioli. So that's what we're going to do. We have our gladioli, obviously. We also have our hollyhocks. We're looking at maybe popping another hollyhocks, another few gladioli, and we're also thinking of things like foxgloves. The thing about foxgloves is that they are only annual, which means you need to plant them every year, whereas the rest of the stuff here comes back. And we want to get as much of this to be sort of self-propelling as possible, really, and fill it up. They need to be crammed to stop the grass from taking over. You can see that like it's done here, basically. The grass here has taken over because everything died in this north side, so we need to sort this out. Our compost bays are doing well. That's this year's, that's last year's. That underneath there, I don't know if you can see down there, underneath there, that will be dirt now, and that will be the compost for our first year. This is the poo bin. See, nice, lovely. Let's have a look at our fruit trees now. It will, these are deciduous, so they will all lose their leaves in the next 2 or 3 months, at which time I think it will be a good idea to cut them back, because they are beginning to spread out. What we want, I think, with these is to try and send them up So we want them high and then they can bush out above. But we don't want them coming out down here where they're going to get on top of the currants. The other thing is that if we can lift these up, we can possibly add more trees beneath them that we can keep lower down, if that makes sense. So make them come out rather than go up. It's maximising the use of the space that we've got. Now we have a plum and we have a cherry here. This is the cherry tree. The cherry tree actually gave us cherries this year. It should not have done. It did. And although cherry trees are prone to losing the crops that they have in winds, this one did very well. So we can expect to get a good harvest from that next year. This is the plum tree. The plum tree is not so good. It did not even give us, it did not even flower this year. There's no blossom, there was no fruit. That's okay. They aren't supposed to, or they don't have to do that for 2 or 3 years, but obviously this is not going to be a quick tree, so we can now expect it to be a couple of years before we get anything from that. The currants are over. Our black currant over there is beginning to look a bit sad and sorry for itself. The currant over here is a red currant, and you can see the leaves are already turning and dropping off. That's to be expected. We have a fallow bay here. This is our strawberry field. Now, it's getting near to autumn, which means that the strawberries are over, and the strawberries themselves are going to start to go, where are we? That colour there, they're going to start to go red. The leaves will go red, and the plant will shrink in on itself. And when it does that, they're going to start to produce these. Those are runners. Now, each one of those, if you detach the plant there, the group of leaves, you snip it there, you snip it there, then that is a fresh plant. This is a fresh plant, pop it in earth and it will grow. That is what we're going to fill this bay with. Therefore this bay will be filled with new plants. So next year this will be the first, it'll be a new set, and that's when we will dig up all these. Now, we don't throw them away because they keep living forever, they just get less prolific. So we put them in the swaps box, or I shall probably take some for my own garden. Our gooseberry bushes are not doing well at all. Part of the reason is because they've been moved so many times. They were somebody else's originally, and they were given to us, and we planted them over there. They didn't like it, they were stuck in shade, they didn't fruit, so we lifted them and we replanted them here. And this is the second year here, and they don't particularly like it here either, because last year the strawberries were really impinging on them. This is the first year then they've really had to grow and do anything. You can see that they've grown, but they have not done very well in producing. This reddish colour one is dessert gooseberry. It actually produces purple berries. We got nothing from that at all this year. We did get a handful from this one, which is now turning for a very different reason, and that's because it's going to fall off. All the leaves are going to fall off. The other thing is that we need to keep these in check, because you can see that the new growth sort of comes off at all sorts of angles, and they have thorns, so you have to be a bit careful with them. We have to make sure that we find a balance between keeping them quite small, but making them happy enough to give us something. Otherwise, eventually, Sue is going to lose patience with them and want rid of them, or to replace them. This is the other red currant. This red currant started off life over by the shed. In fact, right over there, where our great white currant bush was, and it was underneath that, growing in the shadow of. We planted it here. It's always been a bit sickly, hence the lack of leaves. It's never had a lot of leaves, never does, but it's surviving. So and we did actually get a bumper harvest from it, so can't complain. If we move on, we get to our gourds area. Now, I want to try and angle as many of these gourds that are still sort of moving around here, because we do have some space here. I don't want them to have their growing tips growing into other areas, so that's to be remembered. Now, the first of the gourds to die off is the cucumbers, and you can see that the leaves are beginning to go a bit crusty. These shouldn't have been cucumbers. Our proper cucumbers are planted here, and you can see that they are doing even less well. There are smallish cucumbers on them. The cucumbers are edible as they are now. They won't get much bigger than that because the plant is not doing so well. These cucumbers, which I was missold as green courgettes, have done much better, and we've had proper sized cucumbers from them, you know, a decent 10-20 centimetres in length, so that's been excellent. They are starting to drop off now. In fact, there's one. That's a good example of one. There you are, you see. That's the sort of cucumber, that's the sort of size cucumber, if I can show you, that you can expect off this sort of plant. Grown outside, that is not bad, because these are part of the conservatory club. They should be grown under glass. You see, it's a far cry from this, isn't it, really? Which is all I've managed ever before. So there we are. The pumpkins are still on the run, you can see. We have a certain amount of pumpkins growing now. What we have to watch, there's another one, what we have to watch is that something was eating the pumpkins last year, and we have to watch for that this year, because we lost a load of pumpkins because of something eating them, and I'm a bit wanting to make sure that that doesn't happen again. That's our biggest, but at the moment it looks like we'll probably have one, at least 3, possibly 5 pumpkins. The yellow courgette plant is still doing well, you can see down here. It's not as prolific as its green counterpart, nor does it taste any different, but it is yellow, so you know, that's something, isn't it? Let's go over to our squashes. We weren't able to get butternut squash this year. Instead we got a type of sort of pumpkin squash. That is to say that it's a squash that looks like a pumpkin. That's the pumpkin. That down there is the squash. You see, it looks a little pumpkin-like. The other thing with this type of squash is they don't grow any bigger than that. That is fully grown. That is ready to eat. Actually, a lot of people don't eat the squashes at all. They generally tend to sort of use them for display, because obviously there's not a lot on them, and you can get all sorts of different sort of colours as well. Ours are all yellow, which is a bit disappointing, but you can get sort of green and blue and sort of striped ones, variegated ones. The white currant is a bit swamped here. This white currant was planted most recently and didn't enjoy it. There you are, you see. There you are. That is something eating the start of a pumpkin, isn't it? So I need to watch out for that. Something is eating our pumpkins. Yes, this is a white currant bush that it didn't like being here last year. It's got a bit better this year, but hasn't produced anything yet. Our thornless blackberry the bramble constantly needs sort of cutting and moulding and pushing back. We need to have this raised. We need to put in some sort of tripod or something for it to latch onto. We are, however, getting berries, and they're about ready. So, let's pull one off and taste it. Oh, very sweet.